Severe natural disasters have been a fact of human life since the beginning of humanity. We have compiled the 10 deadliest natural disasters in history for you. 10. The AD 1138 Aleppo Earthquake. On October 11, 1138, the ground under the Syrian city of Aleppo began to shake. The city sits on the confluence of the Arabian and African plates, making it prone to tremblers, but this one was particularly violent. The magnitude of the quake is lost to time, but contemporary chroniclers reported that the city's citadel collapsed and houses crumbled across Aleppo. The resulting death toll is estimated at around 230,000, but that figure comes from the 15th century, and the historian who reported it may have conflated the Aleppo quake with one that occurred in what is now the modern-day Eurasian country of Georgia, according to a 2004 paper in the journal Annals of Geophysics. Still, this supposed death toll ties this event as the 10th most deadly natural disaster of all time. 9. The 1976 Thompson Earthquake. At 3:42 a.m. on July 28, 1976, the Chinese city of Thompson was razed to the ground by a magnitude 7.8 earthquake, according to a report by the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS. Thompson, an industrial city with a population of about 1 million at the time of the disaster, suffered staggering casualties of over 240,000. While this was the official death toll, some experts suggest this number is grossly underestimated and that the loss of life was likely closer to 700,000. Reportedly, 85% of Thompson's buildings collapsed, and trembles were felt in Beijing, China, more than 100 miles, 180 kilometers away. It took several years before the city of Thompson was rebuilt to its prior glory. 8. The AD 526 Antioch Earthquake. As with all disasters occurring millennia ago, a precise death toll for the Antioch earthquake is hard to come by. Contemporary chronicler John Malalas wrote at the time that about 250,000 people died when the trembler hit the Byzantine Empire city, now Turkey and Syria, in May 526. Malalas attributed the disaster to the wrath of God and reported that fires destroyed everything in Antioch that the earthquake did not. According to a 2007 paper in the Medieval History Journal, the death toll was higher than it would have been at other times of the year because the city was full of tourists celebrating Ascension Day, the Christian feast that commemorates Jesus' ascension into heaven. 7. The 1920 Highun Earthquake. The Highun Earthquake was the largest quake recorded in China in the 20th century with the highest magnitude and intensity. Deng Qidong, a geologist with the Chinese Academy of Sciences, said during a seminar in 2010. The earthquake, which struck north-central China's Haiyuan County on December 16, 1920, also rocked the neighboring Gansu and Shanxi provinces. It was reportedly a 7.8 on the Richter scale. However, China Today claims it was of magnitude 8.5. There are also discrepancies in the number of lives lost. The USGS reported total casualties of 200,000, but according to a 2010 study by Chinese seismologists, the death toll could have been as high as 273,400. The region's high deposits of loess soils, porous, silty sediment that's very unstable, triggered massive landslides which were responsible for over 30,000 of these deaths, according to a 2020 study published in the journal Landslides. 6. The 1839 Coringa Cyclone. The Coringa Cyclone made landfall at the port city of Coringa on India's Bay of Bengal on November 25, 1839, whipping up a storm surge of 40 feet, 12 meters, according to NOAA's Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Laboratory Hurricane Research Division. The hurricane's wind speeds and category are not known, as is the case for many storms that took place before the 20th century. About 20,000 ships and vessels were destroyed, along with the lives of an estimated 300,000 people. 5. The 2010 Haiti Earthquake. The catastrophic magnitude 7.0 earthquake that struck Haiti just northwest of Port-au-Prince on January 12, 2010, ranks as one of the 3 deadliest quakes of all time. Haiti's standing as one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere and its limited history of large earthquakes left it extremely vulnerable to damages and loss of life. As many as 3 million people were affected by the quake. Death toll estimates were all over the place. Initially, the government of Haiti estimated fatalities stood at 230,000 people, but in January 2011, officials revised that figure to 316,000. A 2010 study published in the journal Medicine, Conflict and Survival put the number at around 160,000 deaths, while the USGS claimed even lower numbers, around 100,000. These disparities reflect the difficulty of counting deaths even in the modern era, not to mention the political wrangling that goes on over official numbers. 4. The 1970 Bola Cyclone. This tropical cyclone hit what is now Bangladesh, then East Pakistan, on November 12 to 13, 1970. According to NOAA's Hurricane Research Division, the storm's strongest wind speeds measured 130 miles per hour, 205 kilometers per hour, making it the equivalent of a Category 4 major hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. Ahead of its landfall, a 35-foot, 10.6 m, storm surge washed over the low-lying islands bordering the Bay of Bengal, causing widespread flooding. The storm surge, combined with a lack of evacuation, resulted in a massive death toll estimated at 300,000 to 500,000 people. A 1971 report from the National Hurricane Center and the Pakistan Meteorological Department acknowledged the challenge of accurately estimating the death toll, especially due to the influx of seasonal workers who were in the area for the rice harvest. As of the writing of this article, the Bola Cyclone is considered the deadliest tropical cyclone on record, according to the World Meteorological Organization. And it caused an estimated $86 billion in damages. 3. The 1556 Chachi Earthquake. The deadliest earthquake in history hit China's Shanxi province on January 23, 1556. Known as the Jiajing Great Earthquake after the emperor whose reign it occurred in, the temblor reduced a 621 square mile, 1,000 square kilometers, swath of the country to rubble, according to the Science Museums of China. An estimated 830,000 people died as their Yaodong, cave homes carved into the region's lush plateaus, collapsed. The exact magnitude of the quake is lost to history, but modern-day geophysicists estimate it at around magnitude 8. 2. The 1887 Yellow River Flood. The Yellow River, Huanghe, in China was precariously situated far above most of the land around it in the late 1880s, thanks to a series of dikes built to contain the river as it flowed through the farmland of central China. Over time, these dikes had silted up, gradually lifting the river in elevation. When heavy rains swelled the river in September 1887, it spilled over these dikes into the surrounding low-lying land, inundating 5,000 square miles, 12,949 square kilometers, according to Encyclopedia of Disasters, Environmental Catastrophes and Human Tragedies, Greenwood Publishing Group, 2008. As a result of this flood, an estimated 900,000 to 2 million people lost their lives. 1. The 1931 Yangtze River floods. Excessive rainfall over central China in July and August of 1931 triggered the most deadly natural disaster in world history, the Central China floods of 1931. The Yangtze River overtopped its banks as spring snowmelt mingled with the over 24 inches, 600 millimeters, of rain that fell during the month of July alone. The Yellow River and other large waterways also reached high levels. According to the Nature of Disaster in China, the 1931 Yangtze River flood, Cambridge University Press, 2018, the flood inundated almost 70,000 square miles, 180,000 square kilometers, and turned the Yangtze into what looked like a giant lake or ocean. Contemporary government numbers put the number of dead at around 2 million, but other agencies, including NOAA, say it may have been as many as 3.7 million people. We have come to the end of our video today. If you like my video, do not forget to subscribe and like.